Yes, welcome once again, everyone. Cannabis news. I am your host, Joe Klare. It's May 6th, 2019, a new week here at the Marijuana Times. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab there to find this show. Also, a bunch of great articles there as well. Today, we're talking about the Trump administration and the VA and marijuana. Also, some interesting comments from a DEA agent and some news out of Baltimore when it comes to record expungement. All of those things are coming up. But first, of course, cannabis news is brought to you by Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. If you are growing cannabis in a state where it's legal, make sure you grow safe and poison-free and are regulatory compliant. Don't use banned pesticides on what you're growing. You can accomplish all of these things with Natureside, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of cannabis news. Before we get to the stories, some news at the Marijuana Times, a giveaway, if you will, I think you all might want to know about. I know a lot of you follow us on Instagram, but if you don't, well, now would be the time. Get over to our Instagram, Marijuana Times X. I'm trying to get to 40,000 over there. 3 winners of this contest are going to win some of the stuff you see there. Make cannabis great again. Hats, goodies, new apparel, the Marijuana Times mug. You could win. Got to go follow Marijuana Times X on Instagram. Like the giveaway photo that you see in front of you if you're watching the photo or the photo version of the show, the video version. If you're watching the photo version of the show, well, you're in luck. If you're watching the video version of the show, and you see the picture that I'm talking about, like the photo, tag at least one friend in the comments who loves the Marijuana Times. One comment tag will equal 1 entry. You can enter as many times as you like, and multiple entries are allowed. Share and tag us in your stories for 1 extra entry. Make sure you use the hashtag #MakeCannabisGreatAgain. It's open to U.S. residents ages 18 and older. The giveaway closes the night of May 13th, 2019 at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time, or Pacific time, depending on your accent. 3 winners will be selected at random and contacted via direct message. The giveaway is not affiliated with sponsored by Instagram or Facebook because they are not cool. There you go. Get over to Instagram. Like all that stuff. Make sure you follow us. A lot of people do so. Apparently it's the thing. It's all the rage, the Instagram these days. It's first story. Get off my lawn. It's first story. MarijuanaTimes.org by Julia Granowitz. The Trump administration and VA oppose legislation to help veterans access medical marijuana. Because, yes, that's a very extreme position to take. Access to medical marijuana. How dare you? When it comes to medical marijuana, the federal government doesn't appear to be warming up to the idea anytime soon. During a congressional hearing on Tuesday, Trump administration officials from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, the VA, made it clear that they are not supporting 3 separate pieces of legislation that aim to ensure research into medical marijuana as well as provide access to veterans in states where it is legal. It's the first time we've had a hearing like this with a substantive comment, said Representative Earl Blumenauer, a Democrat from Oregon. One of the great tragedies of our time is the failure to adequately address the needs of veterans returning home from Iraq and Afghanistan. An overwhelming number of veterans tell me that cannabis has reduced PTSD symptoms and the dependency on addictive opioids. The Veterans Equal Access Act would require the VA to conduct clinical trials researching the potential medical marijuana has to treat conditions like PTSD. Dr. Kieta Franklin, the National Director of Suicide Prevention for the Departments of the Office of Mental Health and Suicide Prevention, believes the research and clinical trials with human subjects are too far off and that the risks and safety concerns are too high. Basically, they're worried about not being enough evidence that marijuana helps veterans. So until we have that evidence and that they will not have the ability to prescribe medical cannabis to patients, of course, because, of course, marijuana can't go through the FDA process and become federally legal. Of course, Congress could remedy that situation. Whether or not they will, of course, remains to be seen. But right now, well, another big middle finger to veterans, you know. I don't know. I've covered this quite a few times. I don't know the way they put it. To tell them, no, No, they say a joint. I smoke a joint before bed. I don't have nightmares, from the horrific things that I went through or witnessed or happened to me. It helps me sleep. I don't wake up with night terrors. I have less anxiety during the day. A veteran says that to a government official, and the government official's like, no, I don't care. Don't care. Here's a bottle of pills. Side effects? Oh, I don't have to tell you. This is par for the course, buddy. Head on back home. If you smoke a joint, we're going to get you. We're going to get you now. Take these pills. I don't want to smell your marijuana or you're going to jail. I think Iraq was bad. Wait till we throw you in jail for marijuana. This next story from Omaha.com. It could be your grandmother. Typical marijuana dealer could be anyone. DEA agent says. I know. It starts off comically. It gets better. As marijuana has become more accessible in states where it's legal, the drug has exploded in popularity in neighboring states where it remains illegal, the Drug Enforcement Administration agent said. Law enforcement officials are finding that the typical profile of a marijuana dealer has changed, and the quantities of the drug found with a dealer can be much smaller because it's easier and cheaper to acquire. And this is Richard Salter Jr., a special agent in charge of the DEA's Omaha division, which spans 5 states. He said, quote, growing up, you could pick out a drug dealer by looking at them, the way they act, dress, and on the street corner. Black guys. Now it could be your grandmother. It's doctors, it's lawyers, it's professionals, school teachers, like we see on the news. It's anybody. Is that supposed to be a mark against marijuana? I don't know. The fact that all these normal, regular people decide to use it and sell it, that kind of it's a mainstream thing. I mean, you don't hear a lot about, well, there's a lot of lawyers and professionals and school teachers are out there, selling heroin and crank. No, probably not. It's anybody. Omaha police officers found 1/3 of a pound of marijuana with a Dundee elementary school teacher. The school teacher was charged with possession of marijuana with intent to deliver. They found 1/3 of a pound of marijuana, several pipes, rolling papers, and 30 grams of mushrooms. Found it in the home of Mary M. Duffy and her partner. Duffy has been placed on administrative leave by the Omaha Public Schools while an investigation is ongoing. Salter said the U.S. is saturated with marijuana that's mostly produced domestically. It's no longer the case that large quantities of marijuana are transported from the U.S. and Mexico. They're grown right here. The call is coming from inside the house. It's in our own backyard. Can you believe it? Growing marijuana in the United States. Crazy, crazy stuff. By the way, if we're saturated with marijuana, how are all these people making money from marijuana? I don't know. It's an economic conundrum, if you will. Salter said, quote, marijuana is still the number one gateway drug. Heroin, meth, and cocaine addicts, they all have one thing in common. They started with marijuana. That's a point out before you can say that about anything. Anything. People get hooked on McDonald's. They all started with some sort of baby food. Every alcoholic had either formula or their mother's breast milk. Is that a gateway? Is the mother's breast milk the gateway to alcoholism? I submit that it is. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove to me that one rapist didn't drink milk as a child. Is milk the gateway to becoming a rapist when you're older? Probably not. But most of them probably drank milk. You see how stupid that is? You see how dumb that sounds? You know how dumb you sound? You're a DEA agent. You're a federal agent. You sound like a moron. Well, they all started with marijuana. Of course they did. It's cheap. It's everywhere. Most people use marijuana, never go on to harder drugs. That is a fact. Not that it matters to people like Mr. Agent Dipwad, or whatever his name was. I'm not even going to go back and look at what his name was. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. He's Agent Dipwad. This last story from Baltimore.com. I feel like a couple times the show has threatened to come off the rails, but I think I've brought it back in. It's been an unruly show, but I'm managing. Judges deny request by Baltimore State's Attorney Mosby to dismiss thousands of marijuana convictions. City judges have thrown out the request from Baltimore State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby to erase convictions in nearly 5,000 cases of marijuana possession. Decisions by Circuit Judge W. Michael Pearson and District Judge Kathleen Sweeney strike down one of the boldest and most progressive moves of Mosby's administration. In an email, Mosby said she was deeply disappointed. I'm showing this in an email to the Baltimore Sun. The role the courts play in our society is to be a place of last resort for people who have been wronged, she wrote. I am deeply disappointed that this ruling did not afford us any opportunity to present legal arguments and essentially eliminated the court from being a safe harbor for those that were harmed by the discriminatory enforcement of marijuana laws. Mosby says she's considering her next move. She announced in January that she would cease prosecuting cases of marijuana possession, as well as ask the courts to throw out thousands of convictions stretching back to 2011. She'd asked the judges to throw out about 1,000 marijuana convictions in circuit court and nearly 3,800 in district court. The judges said, no, get out of here with that. So, because again, very controversial to expunge these convictions. I know all of it takes a long time, baby steps, incremental progress, so on and so forth. I get it. Just it seems like a lot of steps. A lot of steps. But I wouldn't be sitting here doing the show if it wasn't for all that steps. That's what we cover here at Cannabis News 5 days a week. Check us out at marijuanatimes.org. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural products and pesticides. Thank you for watching and listening as we march towards episode 400 and beyond to episode 420. It'll go down this summer. It's going to be epic, as the kids say. Thanks for watching and listening today. We'll see you next time right here on Cannabis News.